Welcome, everybody, to your Wednesday edition of the Expendable Show. Man, things have been going down. Down to Funky Town. That was my Tally impersonation for those of you South Park watchers. So, to start off, I want to just kind of cover Kamala Harris's New Hampshire rally today. Much of the same. Trump bad, Project 2025, national abortion ban. Same old, same old, same old. Her rallies are the most boring rallies ever. And you can tell she ran out of concert money because now, like, the crowds are totally different now in her last few. She was in Detroit and she drew like maybe 200 people. And then over the loudspeaker, they got caught after her rally saying, "Oh, you can't leave yet. The buses won't be here for another half hour." So they're still bussing people in just like they did at her Savannah, Georgia rally. Like, she's such a clown, man. And then she don't own up to anything from the Biden administration. Like, does she realize she was the number 2 person, not only in the United States, but in the world? Like, you're responsible for stuff. You can't just say, "Well, I wasn't the president." Bro, you were the vice president. And nobody can find any records of you working at McDonald's. You weren't even qualified to work at McDonald's. So what were you qualified to do all these years, Montel Williams? So I think that all of this is just a huge distraction from the failures that she's been a part of for the last 3.5 years. I can't tell you watch these interviews all over social media and people just interview people off the street and they're doing it in big cities. And they're saying, "Well, what do you like about Kamala Harris? What policies of hers do you like?" And nobody can name anything. Nobody knows anything about Kamala Harris's policies. They keep that part of her hidden. And all this Marxist stuff that her family's been a part of for all these years, they totally censor the public from that. You actually have to dig really deep. It's just like when Obama was president and you had to go dig to find all his communist ties. It's the same old, same old. It's just a woman this time. And they're picking from the same stable. And we'll get to horse references here in a minute. Keep complaining about Trump's tax breaks for the wealthy. Once again, you can't not give corporations tax breaks. It's destructive to our economy. You think about who really owns corporations. It's the big 3 asset managers. What do? They invest your money. So if you're going to attack giant corporations, you're going to destroy your own 401k, you're going to destroy your own pensions, and you're going to destroy your own IRAs. Anything that you're investing anything in, you're going to hurt your own pocketbook. People on the left don't understand that. You can't do it that way. It's not going to work. So I highly urge you lefties out there to actually read an economic book or understand how markets work or just understand any general 101 economics. You can't overtax corporations and expect them to just bow down. They're not going to do that. For one, they have too much money to just do what you want. For two, there's better deals out there and they will go shop around. If it means saving hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion, they're going to go do that deal. And everyone wants American manufacturing in their country. Believe that. No one's going to turn down American manufacturing. Nobody. So back to Tim Walz, to Tampon Tim, the horse whisperer. So we found out that his entire family doesn't like him. I'm not going to take shots at his son because I don't do that. But the rest of his family is fair game. There's a bunch of them that posed with pictures on that said the Walz family for Trump, which I thought was awesome. Like, man, you got to be kidding me. Like, you're that radical that nobody in your family will back you. It's insane. But I'm pretty radical, and I still have a couple backers left in my family. And on top of that, not only does his family not like him, but there is an organization of horses coming together that are protesting against Tim Walz. So, I got Shauna's attention on that one. I see that. So the horse whisperer has a horse problem. He's probably not going to get any horse votes. He obviously didn't get any consent. So, okay, that's enough. That's enough of horse talk. I'm not going to talk about horses. And also, straight boys don't like Tim Walz either because they don't want to go into the bathroom and see tampons all over the place. What's the point? How many people are actually going to use those tampons for the intended purposes that Tim Walz wants you to use them for? Those tampons are going to turn into every ridiculous invention that a teenage boy can think of all the time. Hey, there's Colin in the chats. Timmy, that's right. Timmy Tampon. Blah, blah. Oh, I'll probably get canceled for acting like Timmy. For those of you South Park watchers. That's my second South Park reference of the show. Thanks, Colin. So real quick, there was a shooting in Winder today at a high school. A 14-year-old shot 4 kids. He shot more than that, but 4 of them died. Which Winder, from where I'm at, the town I used to live in was Loganville, Georgia. And Winder is literally like the next town, like northeast of Loganville, Georgia. So I've been to Winder quite a few times. It's a nice little, tiny little community. So to have a shooting there is a little surprising. It's kind of away from the city quite a bit. See, I'll go over my weekend schedule later. We're going to go back up to my major topic of the day, which consists of the immigrants from Venezuela. So the immigration. So here's the breakdown. So there's 2 major cities that are reporting issues with the Venezuelan basically the gangs. And one is in Aurora, Colorado, which the media, the governor of Colorado, and the local law enforcement is doing everything that they can to pretend like nothing's going on. Nothing to see here. It's like Officer Barbrady on South Park. There's my 3rd South Park reference. Move along. Nothing to see here. It's just shootings in the streets. Nothing major. So, that's what you get in Colorado, which South Park is in Colorado. So it all makes sense. There's number 4 South Park. This might be the South Park episode. I should have my own South Park character, I feel like. So then now we're in Chicago. So I want to talk about the Chicago thing because that's a problem. And I kind of downplayed the whole Aurora situation because it is in Colorado. And it is it's in like Aurora's not like the most horrendously dangerous place on the planet. There's way more dangerous places than Aurora, Colorado. But now we're looking at Chicago. So for those of you who do not know anything about Chicago, this is taking place in O Block, which O Block is named after a gangster, like one of the gang members that was shot and killed in the south side of Chicago. I think his name was like Odell Block. This was his actual name. And he was part of the Black Disciples gang, who that section of Chicago on the south side called O Block is one of the most dangerous hoods in the world. So for the migrants to pick an area like that and expect nothing to happen is ridiculous. For one, Chicago ain't Colorado. Chicago invented gangsters. So, this is going to be a disaster. And I was on TikTok today flipping through videos, and there's just video after video after video after video of these street guys on there saying, "Oh yeah, they're about to find out in Chicago. We ain't gonna play that game. and they are going. I guess there was already a shootout, but the media's, Chicago PD, everybody's downplaying and saying, "Oh, there's nothing going on." But when you hear the stories from the people that actually live in O Block, they're saying, "Hey, it's going down." And I would expect the Venezuelan migrants to not survive that. There's just too many. There's too many bigger and badder firearms in Chicago.
First of all, if everybody doesn't know about O Block, that's where Chief Keef is from. So,
yes.
Chief Keef is from there, but also just too, Chicago, really, like, out of all places for y'all to want to touch base down in,
that was a stupid strategic decision.
I'm like, out of everywhere, you're thinking that Chicago had like the highest shootings ratings last year, and you're gonna literally do it there. This is gonna definitely be they got kids as young as like 12 out there with full automatic weapons. So I don't even see that being a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
I should have had Kazan on the show because he's from Chicago. And we were talking about that today. He would have had some good insight about what to do and what not to do in Chicago. But it's going to go down. I think it's going to be a bad situation. So you've got the Aurora Police Department and the Chicago Police Department is basically running around censoring everything. Aurora actually had a bunch of like content creators going to this apartment complex for like the last 3 days, video recording. For one, they all thought the Hells Angels was going to show up and just burn the whole place down. But for two, they wanted to get footage of what was actually going on. And I didn't see any real footage, but yet TikTok has been on a really, really bad like censorship campaign lately. If it's like you literally have to talk like a kindergarten kid on TikTok in order to get your videos to stay. Which if any of you are on TikTok, I just literally got done making a TikTok where I was laying in bed and I was making it look like I was having a nightmare, and I was saying, no, Tim Walz, boy horses don't need tampons either. So I made a video on TikTok about Tim Walz and his horse problem. He's trying to give tampons to the boy horses, and they don't want them. Why every time I talk about horses, Shauna she starts listening for once. I'm gonna use that as a method to get Shauna's attention at work. I'm just gonna start talking about Tim Walz and horses. Don't be a hater. So my question for you today, Shauna, is so if this went down, as you know, like we are in like where we're at in our company location in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is, for those of you who don't know anything about Atlanta, we're on the east side of Atlanta. We're just on the east side, like the loop is right there.
East side girl. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and every rap song is about the east side of Atlanta, so we're in the action.
All right. What's
but
the question?
The question is, what? So you know how we have a lot of the illegal migrants like in our direct area, like they come to our plant all the time trying to get jobs. So we do have that influence. Now we're not really seeing like the ones that are there. We're not really seeing like too much of the crime from that. So I think the ones that are there are the ones that are really, really kind of trying to work. Which it is what it is. But if they did that, like let's say the Venezuelans show up, and I'm sure they're already in Atlanta. They're just not big enough yet to cause problems, I don't think. But if they were in Atlanta, what neighborhood would be the perfect mistake for them to pick?
You said what neighborhood you think they could get away with doing that?
No, what neighborhood should they pick to get whooped on most?
South side, really. If I can be 100% honest with you. College Park, Camp
Oakland.
Creek, like Camp Creek, like they still have like
Camp Creek's
streets that
crazy.
like. So one of my sister's best friends used to be a Camp Creek police officer. Like there's still certain streets in Camp Creek that the police won't even go down. They're not doing it. Like they're like,
Camp Creek's
down
bad.
that street, no, we're not doing it at all.
See, when I first moved down here, they said don't go to Candler Road, but now everybody's like Candler Road's not that bad.
I mean, they've done a lot of gentrification so the thing people have to realize about a lot of the cities in Atlanta is a lot of the roads run really long. Like Memorial Drives run from the east side through downtown to the west side. So a lot of things like that, you know. So like Decatur, what do you think? You got North.
Yeah, well now nobody can hear you, so bleh. But for me, it's definitely the South Side. The South Side is a scary place. I went to an Atlanta Falcons football game one time, and I took if you take one wrong turn by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you are in the hood. Like not even kidding.
Yeah,
that's right. And man, I went down the wrong street. I missed my turn. So I went past the stadium and I'm like, oh, well, I'll just take another right.
You probably went down one of the streets where I got my tattoo done.
Probably. But I definitely did not feel like I was going to survive that block. As soon as I turned, there was probably 20 dudes standing out in the middle of the street, just like looking at my car, like, what are you doing driving down this street? And they were standing in the middle of the street. And I was like, oh, man.
Like downtown, you could have been going the wrong way. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were going to be aggressive with you, but a lot of the roads are like one-way streets. So you could have just been going the wrong way. I'm just saying. But nonetheless.
No, I'm pretty sure I wasn't, because I'm pretty sure my GPS told me to turn right there. It said, turn if you want to die. That's what it said. And I didn't hear the second part. So I turned. But it was a scary situation. Like that's how close you are when you're in Atlanta. You are only a wrong turn away from being in a neighborhood where you start to do a little extra thinking. And there's places I don't think that with the amount of shootings that we have here. And granted, I don't want to say that they're all like random. They're not really random shootings. Like it is like targeted violence, against another group of people or whatever. Yeah. So I could see that, and I don't know if it worked like this in Atlanta, but in Chicago, you're hearing like the gangs are starting to unite to go against these Venezuelans. And that's going to make it even worse. I don't know if they could get away with that in Atlanta because we're so spread out.
No, you could, because like realistically speaking, all of the major like active crime active gangs are either on the west side or the south side. Not saying that they're not on the east side too, but if you're seeing like real high activity, like in shootouts every other day, murders every other day.
Yeah. Oh, the Southwest is definitely where all the bad stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. And shoot, I told you 3 years ago now, before I had my kids, I was saying over.
Nobody can hear you. You walk like an hour away.
In my in my neighborhood when I was staying over in off of Fulton Industrial, which is the west side, well southwest side, literally a murder right across the street from my house. So things happen, but I mean, like if you want, like I would never recommend any of those places doing it. It's definitely going to be a bad situation, because who would be comfortable with you just coming into somebody's territory? And then like in Atlanta, that wouldn't work anyway.
That's brave, I think.
It very much so, but I think like in Atlanta specifically, like the reason why they've gotten away with this so long in Colorado is because those people are not aggressive people. But like here in Atlanta, what do you mean you're going to tell us that you're going to take over the neighborhood and you're going to tell us that we're going to be paying more rent? One thing about black people and one thing about black people in the ghetto, they already don't want to pay the rent that they're paying. And you're talking about you're going to charge me more and force me to pay it? Yeah, you don't even have to worry about the gangs, just the regular civilians. Somebody's getting shot. Like it is what it is.
Oh yeah, and plus everybody's carrying in Georgia. We got anybody can carry law. So, everybody's got guns on them. I agree with you, Colin. Colin said, "Thank God for Comrade Kamala, the border czar. This is working out really well." And he's right. Like, this is all a result of Kamala Harris. And that kind of leads into like my next thought process with this, getting away from the gang part of it. So what I see happening, and so just to give you some background, I pay attention to stuff like this. Probably too much. But so my previous wife has ADHD. And she always thought that her ADHD was so exclusive and so different that nobody could figure her out. But what she didn't realize was she was just using the typical chaos theory. And no matter what kind of craziness was going on with her, the pattern always emerged and she would react pretty much relatively the same way to everything. And that's kind of how the chaos theory works a little bit. There's several different variations of it, but I think that's what we're looking at with the migrants. Because I just saw a mass migrant map of where the Venezuelans are at, and it's almost like a grid over the United States and all these major cities. Like they pretty much have this grid covered. And that makes me worry a little bit. Like it does look like it's very much an orchestrated event. Like they were told, hey, I need 20 of you to go to this city. I need 20 of you. And like they're picking the worst ones they got. And hey, just take over something and just cause problems. We'll cover you in the media. But for those of you who don't know what the definition of the chaos theory is and some of the methods that the chaos theory works, because this is exactly what they're using. And we're not really looking at it from a far enough angle sometimes. Colin is, because he gets it. But the chaos theory is a branch of mathematics and scientific study that examines the unpredictable behavior of complex systems. It's concerned with the underlying patterns of laws and dynamical systems that are highly sensitive to initial conditions. So it's basically what it says. So to layman terms it for you, it's you have these things happen. All these different events happen in this spectrum. And then if you it looks like there's no pattern to it, but if you look at it far enough away, you can see what's going on. And that's basically what the chaos theory is. And so there's different features of it. There's the instability, which I believe this is the main one that they're trying to do. So basically it's chaotic systems that are sensitive to initial conditions and exhibit unstable behavior. I think that these groups are told to cause problems. So it creates this sense that that our country's out of control and it's chaotic. So it will allow the government, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, to move the Overton window again. For those of you who have never read Glenn Beck's book, The Overton Window, I highly recommend that you do. That book, even though he wrote it like back in the early 2000s, is still relevant today and still highly effective. So they basically moved the Overton window. So now we can accept, they've conditioned us to accept more radical properties in our country. And they've been doing this to us for a long time. And I probably have already talked about the Overton window on my podcast. But it's a big thing. The government uses these tools. They use the chaos theory. They use the Overton window to get us to react to the ways that they want us to react and to get us to accept things that we normally wouldn't accept. They did it with the LGBTQ thing. We went from, the 90s where nobody was gay, or at least you never told anybody you were gay. And then they just kept moving the Overton window, and then boom, like 2010 hit, and it was just rapid fire. And they rammed it down our throats, and now it gets rammed down our throats worse. which I don't have a problem with gay people. I just don't like it being rammed down my throat all the time. So the second feature is called a periodicity, and that's a system. It's a system that variables in chaotic systems that never repeat in a regular pattern. So that's kind of different. So that would fit under like the butterfly effect. So if any of you know what the butterfly effect is, it's basically what that is. It's a bunch of patterns that are similar, but they don't exactly do the exact same thing. They're each movement is a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit different, a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. So they change just enough of the variable to not make these things look the same. Okay. You know what? So I can see that, Colin. If you have if her polls, and I think you're onto something here, because if they create, it's just like what they always say. A lot of politicians, when presidential candidates, and if you have the control over things, you can manifest your disaster, and then come in with your Superman cape on and magically fix it. So I could see that as a method that they would use, yes. And it makes a total sense. And I feel like we've probably been duped of that over and over and over again. So the third one is the nonlinear theory. It's where it's more fluidity. It's where things can't be unmixed and turbulences occur at all scales. So it's like water. It's like watching the ocean where everything's going in the same direction, but nothing is identical. And it's not really like changing the pattern, but nothing's the same. And then you have mixing, where two adjacent points of a complex system will eventually end up in very different positions over time. So that you see a lot of artwork that does that. But those are the basic elements of the chaos theory. And I think it's important to know some of these theories, because they, like I said, they are the objects that in the theorem that they use to manipulate us to do things. Every president, doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, they have all done it. They all use the same tool. And they probably are all using it for the same exact purpose. It's just one person's a Republican, one person's a Democrat, but they're all probably, which is radicalism. That's the main thing, is to get us to accept super hyper radical ideologies. And right now it's being utilized to the left. So we don't want those things to happen. And is there a way to slow down that progress? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I know it's going to take the right leadership. And then under that, it's going to take the right congressional majority with the right minded people to stop things like that, because then they can put a halt and say, well, we're not going for radical principles anymore. And, I think that's, something that we definitely need to look at, going forward into the future. If if Kamala Harris if she keeps the race tight, we have a problem. Because if you think that they haven't figured out another way, they know what way we're watching. You think they haven't figured out plan B yet? Well, them liberals are the biggest cheats on the planet. They have already figured out plan B and C. So, we've got to be ready for anything. It's going to be a rough September and October, and going into November, it's going to be even worse, most likely. So I did see where Kamala Harris gets $400,000 from Amazon, and she was complaining about Trump's big donors, and Trump only gets like 100,000 from Amazon. Like, how you going to do that when you get more money from big donors than what he does? Idiot. But if I was in the gang world right now, and unfortunately, there's not going to be anything that these guys can do that's going to stop this. They've brought these migrants in, and they've allowed them to desecrate all over gang turf, and somebody's going to massively handle that situation eventually, whether it's Chicago, whether it's New York City. I'm already seeing people are calling out the Venezuelans all over TikTok. They're like, come to my city and see what happens, But I'm going to go to the theory that Tekashi 6ix9ine tested that theory, and he went to every single city that was said they were going to kill him, and nobody did. But then he did go to Miami, and they beat the shit out of him in the bathroom. So maybe Miami's the one. Send all the Venezuelans to Miami, and let's see what happens. I'm going to send them to Shauna's house. No. I'm going to send them to your Starbucks.
I got signs that says private property. So
private property?
It's a private property. So that means don't bring your ass over here if you're not supposed to be here.
What happens if they do?
I shoot.
God, crazy. We put you in an institution. We'll put you on a watch. See, that's why this is probably why I'm getting shadow banned on everything, because you say stuff like that on my show and it gets me in trouble.
Well, unfortunately, TikTok, in the state of Georgia, I am allowed to carry. I am allowed to shoot if I have private property on my yard. If you come on there and you're not a welcome guest, I can protect myself. I can protect my children. That's just what it is.
Well, we're not live streaming on TikTok. I'm not cool enough to be in that club yet.
You'll never make it to TikTok. You're too radical.
No, I'm just funny. I have to put satire on every video so that way the TikTok algorithm knows that I'm just trying to be funny, because they don't understand humor in China, apparently.
I also feel like too, tapping back into what Colin said.
All right, you can I'm about to shoot. I'm going to short phone.
Oh, okay. All right. Be safe. Yeah, I will. But what was I about to say? Oh yeah, Kamala. Yeah, like you were saying, the race, I feel like too, they have to keep it tight, because if they don't, I feel like it's going to get even more violent than it already will be. Because if it looks like Trump's in the lead, it looks like he's winning. I just feel like the closer it gets to November, the more ignorant people are going to be, and it could be a serious situation of somebody might really get hurt.
So just to add to what you just said, it made me kind of think about something like, if this could be a lose-lose situation for America, if you think about it. If the race is close and they're able, and there is evidence of a cheat, that's going to cause a problem. But yet, if Trump blows out Kamala, not metaphorically speaking, then that's going to cause a problem, because the left is going to unleash their minions all over the place. You're going to see Antifa burning down everything.
I think people were mad about the people going to the Capitol with Trump. I can only imagine what they might do if he was to blow out Kamala.
Oh, I know.
On a serious note,
I
feel like it could be very bad.
Yeah, so they're the polls are crazy. Like I had a thing on TikTok yesterday about the polling, and I don't even know. I'm so confused by the polling, because you'll look at it one day and they'll be like, "Oh, Trump is winning." Then the next day it'll be Kamala's up by 7 points in all the swing states, and then the next day you look at it as, "Oh, it's neck and neck." It's like, oh man, how about we just not do polls until the middle of October? Because as we learn more about Kamala's plan, you're going to see adjustments. Either the communists in the country are going to go, "Oh, we love her," or the moderates are going to go, "That's probably not the candidate for us." And so you're going to see these adjustment numbers happen. And plus, you can't trust polls anyway because it's a demographic like cherry pick of areas they want to target. Like they'll go into New York City and they'll go, okay, let's do 1,000-person poll. We're going to poll 7 people out of AOC's district, and then we're going to go to Staten Island and poll some of Trump, like 200 of Trump's people. And so you can skew your poll just by the demographic you pick. They tell you that everything's fair and they try to balance out the demographic, but they don't. They can get those polls to say anything they want, especially like the ABC polls, the NBC polls, the MSNBC polls, the CNN polls aren't as bad. But they have a strategy behind what they do. They always poll their candidates bad, so it throws their constituents into a frenzy and they'll all panic and go, everybody's got to go vote. So CNN always uses the panic method to get people to go vote. It is what it is. Everything's a giant psyop right now. So like half the country's like losing their mind. If they watch the news every day like I do, they've got people have to be like going crazy out there because I have to like sit down and go into a quiet room sometime and just breathe so I don't lose my mind from watching the crazy news and the back and forth. And it's just nuts. It's just nuts. Everything's nuts. And then you can't hardly watch international news either because England's censoring everything in their country. So they're going to tell you the sun's shining and the king's perfect. But really their country's in a giant civil war right now. And they don't want to tell you that.
Crazier is like with England, since Charles took over, since Charles took over, people were pissed that he became king. And
yeah, he's a bum.
That Camilla became the queen's consort. So, they were already dealing with like civil issues because majority of them do not like the fact that he took over. And then just like all this other stuff that's been kind of going over there. So they were already like a ticking time bomb. And now
most definitely.
It was just like it's just out of control because they were like, because I'm very I deep dive on Twitter all the time, and the daily amounts of people like expressing their dislike for him, it was already like, if they can't agree on anything else, they can all agree that they do not like him or want him as king. So it was just like, all this going on.
They didn't have a choice. He was the next one up. They couldn't avoid it.
I mean, they could have just did like America and said, yeah, no, pulling you out. And we're going to put your son in place, the next in line. But right. I mean, the man's old. Like, he's sad to say, but didn't they say he has cancer? So,
he's been had it. I think they both do.
Well, I know Kate has it too. They just announced that she has it as well. I think she has breast cancer, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. Yeah, all of them have like cancer. It's like the plague is taking them all out at this point. I don't know, but I mean, he won't be in there long, unfortunately.
So Colin just said that they banned zombie knives in England.
What is a zombie knife? Do I even want to know what that is?
I mean, it's like the cool knives that you can definitely do some damage with. They're not normal. They're different. I don't know how to best. Colin will probably tell you the best. Colin literally owns like 1,000 knives.
Never heard of this. A zombie knife. Now y'all are gonna make me go look this up. I'm gonna open.
There's a bunch of different kinds. Here, I'll show you a couple. These are a couple zombie knives right here. Right there. See that?
Oh, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. You can't have those in England because they're cool. See, Colin just said they're just cool looking survival knives. Colin would know. He's got a billion. I'm telling you, Colin has a billion knives. It's insane. The dude has more knives than I've ever seen. You're not gonna catch him without a
you gotta
weapon.
be up close and personal. Don't like it.
Yeah. And then, so you can't have so if the zombie apocalypse happens in England, they can't arm themselves. You see, the only people that have
gonna be fucked anyways. Like they're overcapacitated there. Like,
well, the only weapons the only weapons you see on the streets like that are bladed are the ones that the immigrants have over there. The Middle Eastern people, they're running around with machetes. And the British people are just got clubs and stuff. It's like we're watching like West Side Story or like the gangs of New York or something. They just beat each other up in the British people are gonna get hacked up by machetes.
they don't have to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Sarge brought it up. He said, look at the crescent knives the Muslims have. Exactly. If you watch them and their little rallies in England, they've got these like the super like Muslim, like the curved ones. They're where you're going to get hacked up in England. You better hope you got a lot of friends with you. It's the same thing everywhere. Ireland's the same way, but Ireland's turning into like mini San Francisco somehow. I don't know how you'd be the toughest people on the planet and you're like the most bar fighting group of people ever, but you let your country turn into San Francisco. It doesn't make any sense. They're going to have poop maps here pretty soon. San Francisco, they don't have poop maps no more because Gavin Newsom kicked out all the homeless people. Oh, so yeah, Sarge just said that the Muslim knives they're religious, so they can't get rid of them. Maybe the British need to come up with a method.
Like, I'm not laughing. Like, it's funny. I'm just saying, like, that's hilarious. Like, this could be the one thing to help them survive, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't think their government cares about their well-being very much.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
I mean, granted,
the world is on
I think
fire. This is great.
I'm pretty sure the Ayatollah said that there would be Muslims on every there'd be like radical Muslims in every corner of the world here pretty soon. My dad says I got 110 buck knife on his hip all the time. Period. He does. He's had it for forever. It was probably made in the caveman days.
Oh,
pretty sure.
In other news, somebody else died at Lake Lanier.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. The guy was like 40 years old. They said he like was trying to swim to his boat from shore and drowned.
He got pulled under by the spirits.
Scientifically, let them tell you that the pockets from like the buildings and stuff that they flooded out to create Lake Lanier, it creates like little pocket suctions throughout the whole lake. So that's what makes people drown, you know.
So it's like an underwater, like undertow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because like they didn't demolish anything. Like they literally just flooded the town out.
Oh no, the town's still there. I've seen videos of people scuba diving up in there. The whole town is down there.
Ain't no fucking way.
I don't even go there, so it's there's too many people out there.
Have you just ever driven through it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like absolutely not. It's the most creepy, eerie thing ever. And I know a lot of people
all these rich people have
spirituality. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about spirituality and things like that. Heavy spiritual presence, even just driving through it, like not even if you go like to actual Lake Lanier, just like driving through it, heavy spiritual presence through there. Like, yeah, no, good on it.
I only like to go where there's like alligators and sharks.
fun with that as well.
I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna see a gator one day, and I'm jumping out the car, and I'm gonna jump on him.
All I can think about is the little like voiceover that's on TikTok and Instagram, and it's like, yep, you might be wondering how I got here. That's gonna be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why anytime I take a road trip, you're gonna come with me, so that way you can record it. So that way I have it for. Because if I whoop the gator, no one's ever gonna believe me.
Yeah, good.
But if the gator whoops me, everybody will believe it. But I don't play to lose.
Because who do I call when an alligator is eating you? Do I call animal control? Do I call state police? Like, who do I call to rescue you? And that's the problem that I have, that I'm not prepared for the rescue call.
Well, I'm going to tell you what to do. You're going to have to call the prosthetic limb company.
That's the last people we call. That's going to be the last people we call. Who do I call first to save you so you can only lose a limb? That's what I'm saying. I need to call them people first.
Sarge said I'm going to be the hey, y'all, watch this guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not going to have time. So I'm just going to be like, Shauna, pull over. And I'm just going to jump out and run. And you're just going to have to figure out what I'm doing. Like, what is he doing? Oh, there's a gator. Let me get my phone out.
Hi, police. There's a crazy white man jumping on an alligator. It looks like animal cruelty, in my opinion, honestly.
Oh, you would set me up like that?
But it's definitely looking dangerous. I don't want to get close, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be the call.
Yeah, but we're going to be out in the middle of nowhere, so go ahead and call the cops. Who do you think they're going to believe?
They're going to be like, animal cruelty? They're going to call everybody. Over with.
Yeah, you're
supposed to. Fines. You're not gonna be able to have no money for a prosthetic.
Whatever. They're gonna arrest you for being in the all white areas.
Nah.
Think about that.
I might even get a plaque because I saved an alligator's life. Be like, thank you for your selflessness and your camaraderie for your fellow animals.
They're gonna arrest you for obstructing a white guy's fun.
Sure. Love to see how that goes over in court.
They'll give me a trophy. They'll be like, on your way, sir. Sorry to inconvenience you. Yeah. How did we get talking about alligators? Who did that? That's not politics.
It is if you think about it.
We talked about different knives. The Sarge brought up the curved Muslim crescent knives. And then we got zombie knives from Colin. My dad's buck knife. You know what machetes. We talked about machetes. We're just kind of hitting all the categories today, I think.
This just sounds like Serial Killer Anonymous to me. I don't know. It's very much giving that, though.
Yeah, you might be right.
Hi, my name is Shauna. I like using zombie knives to kill my people. What's your take?
Yeah, but you can do cool tricks with them. The zombie knives, you can do cool tricks with them.
See, the thing is, I'm very clumsy. I just don't think that would be a good thing for me.
Well, you're not. Yeah, you probably shouldn't do tricks.
Yeah,
like you're just gonna unalive yourself.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, last topic. Last topic of the day. Let me scroll down and find it. Oh no, second to last topic.
Oh my God.
So Saturday, I will be going.
Nothing.
Anyway, Saturday, I am going to go to Lawrenceville, Georgia, to an event that is with Georgia State Representative Ray Martinez, who used to be the mayor of my town, Mayor Ray. So I've met him several times before, but I'm going to go listen to him speak and probably do some photo ops and hand him my book and look all cool with Mayor Ray, who's State Rep Ray. All right, have fun, Colin. Watch out for OSHA. Yeah. Yeah, OSHA. I like you right now. But anyway, I'm going to go meet with Ray Martinez. I don't know what his topic of discussion is going to be, so I'll find out. And they usually let me video record the whole thing, so I will do that. Second to last topic. So Ohio State plays Western Michigan this week, and they're probably going to win 2,500 to nothing because Western Michigan is really a bad football team. And Ohio State is full of 5-star recruits. So hypothetically, we should win really big. And I'm not really worried about the game. I'm going to watch it, but it'll probably be over by like halftime. So, we'll win so big, we have to call Shauna up to come in and play quarterback. So hopefully she's got her arm worked up.
Recruited to be a quarterback in middle school. My mother said no.
Yeah, she said,
she said football. That's for boys. You have. She
said, pick those pom-poms up.
My dad goes, they got padding for girls, and she's like, absolutely not. But,
yeah, your mama, Gloria wasn't having it.
Gloria wasn't having it at all. My mother was very sad because I wasn't girly. I was very much a tomboy. So whole childhood, she was fighting to put me in skirts and dresses and bows. So it was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, I'm going to make that dress code for your job now.
What?
That you have to wear bows in your hair.
I can do a bow. It's cute.
Oh, it is now? It wasn't cute when you were little.
I mean, I've matured, I've went into my feminine energy, you know what I mean? But when I was younger, I wasn't hearing any of that.
I mean, it's considerate and it's demure. Shauna's frozen. She's like Elsa on Frozen right now. But so Ohio State plays Western Michigan. We got lots of politics going on. Who knows what's happening this weekend? It's so intense. I'm going to watch football and then the NFL starts. Yeah, that's true. So she came back. You were Elsa on Frozen for a minute.
I don't know what happened, but yeah. He said she got her girly stage now. Yeah, for sure. I've come into understanding that, there's so many great things about being a woman, So,
oh my God,
yeah.
You sound like Kamala Harris now.
I would never want to be a man. Like, you guys, life is so boring.
What does that have to do with Kamala Harris? That's Big Mike.
I don't know her. So I can't relate to her being an Indian woman.
She's not Indian. She's got a Southern accent now.
Please.
She's been rocking it all week. She's been talking with Southern drawl all week. Oh, funny. Everybody's been making fun of her.
Good.
Like, when did you come from the South? You're from San Francisco or whatever country you're from.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Did you see my TikTok where I did my cats and I had to sing the Sarah McLachlan SPCA song? Mm-hmm. You didn't see that? You don't watch none of my videos.
That's never see so
Sean,
not alive.
Stuff.
I am sorry. I have more things to worry about in life than freaking stupid social media. Like, I have so many unanswered messages between both of my Instagram accounts, my Twitter, and TikTok. Like, don't even get me started, okay? Like, I'm sorry.
What? There's nothing more important than hearting all my stuff. How am I supposed to get famous if I don't have enough likes?
Anyways.
Shauna, you're missing the point.
No, you're missing nothing.
Yeah, you're supposed to be my marketing person. You don't even market me. You got to heart my stuff and then tell everybody else, like, heart his stuff or
heart
else.
your stuff. What are you talking about?
Hearts. Bloop, bloop. Every time I open my thing up, hearts should go flying everywhere. Shauna liked your video. Shauna liked your video. Shauna liked your video. I should have at least 17 notifications.
Anyways, so yeah. Sounds very stalkerish. I'm good.
Yeah.
Especially since I see you at work. I'm good. But anyways,
an update on my book, because I know Sarge is always wanting to know. Colin came to my last book signing when I was in Ohio, and so did Sarge. They both were there. I just got notifications today. So we are in. The marketers have reached out to me. So for those of you who do not know, I'm with Archway, and they are a part of the Simon and Schuster company, which is one of the big conservative book publishers. I'm kind of like with their minor league publisher, so hopefully I can sell enough books to where they'll pick me up and give me a book deal. So I'm excited about that, and I'm ready to start touring Florida because it's warm and they have beaches. I might come to Ohio, but I know by the time my book comes out, it's going to be cold, and I'm going to be like, I don't want to go cold. I have to get my snowsuit out that I don't have anymore. It never snows here. But that's just the update. And I want to, I don't know what.
Because you said that, it's going to be another 2014 snow year for us.
Yeah, it snowed here, didn't it?
It snowed like nobody.
It was melted off by 10 a.m.
No, it wasn't.
The snow never sticks.
No, it wasn't.
Whatever.
No, it wasn't. Okay, so you weren't here in 2014. Let me tell you how 2014 was. This was what was I? It was my second semester of college. I remember being down at home, and we got a campus-wide email from our president telling us that all of Bibb County was shutting down. They were sending kids home early for school, and that they were shutting the campus down. And if anybody that didn't live on campus needed to commute to go home, so everybody go home, because they were sending the professors home and everything. I called my mom. Take in mind, this was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I called my mom and I'm like, hey, they're giving a weather advisory. Like, they're sending all of us home. They're making us like stay in because the weather's supposed to get bad. Like, what's going on with you guys up there in Atlanta? I was down in Macon in college. And she's like, oh, well, they're telling us, if my mom works at Emory, so they were literally telling them, if you're going to leave now. If you stay and the weather starts getting bad, we're not letting you leave. You're going to have to stay overnight at the hospital. Like, by 4 o'clock, people were literally stuck on the road. My dad and my brother both. My dad stays in Stockbridge. He works in Norcross. He got stuck on the freeway. My brother got stuck on the freeway. My mom had to stay at the hospital. Like, it was bad. Children were like stuck on school buses on the freeway. It was really bad. I'm telling you, it was the worst.
Blizzard.
Like, it was, yes, we don't get no damn blizzards because we're not in the area to get blizzards. But for Georgia, for people who like, oh, it's going to snow, and our snow never even sticks to the ground, to literally be like 2-3 inches of snow, it's ice everywhere. Once, a lot of people don't know how to drive in that. Like, we're from the South. People don't know how to drive in this type of weather. Most people didn't know how to drive in it.
From New York.
No, maybe now and not then. But literally nobody knew how to drive. What made it so bad was that they didn't listen to the meteorologists. Like, they should have sent everybody home early, but they thought it was going to be like it normally is in Georgia. Like, oh, it's going to snow. We're going to send these kids home early, and it's literally not even going to be a problem. Maybe some black ice. But the problem was that it actually really was bad. They waited to send the kids home late from school. Not late, but like they sent them home like normal time. So by the time you're thinking middle school gets out at 4 o'clock, these kids were stuck on the school bus, like on the freeway.
If it's going to be freezing rain here, I'm not getting anywhere near a highway, because you'll see these idiots that think they can drive in it, and then you'll see them spinning. They'll be spinning out across 8 lanes of 75.
In my apartment when I stayed in Marietta, I stayed like in the back of the apartment complex. So like in that part of it, it's like kind of like sloped down. And it wasn't as bad as 2014, but I think this is like 2016, 2017, whatever. I remember like people trying to drive up the hill to get out of the apartment complex. All you seen was like car after car sliding back down, ramming into each other. So it was just like cars just smashed into each other in the park. Because they just didn't want to listen. They didn't want to listen. Yeah. So Georgia can be pretty stupid with extreme weather. I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
You think they drive bad with regular weather? Wait till it rains or snows. It's even worse.
I already know. But I've been down here for 5 years. I've pretty much seen all the idiot drivers that we have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. There's probably 3 million people of the population, idiot drivers.
Let's just see if we can get
Oh yeah, Fonnie Willis's daughter got arrested yesterday.
For what?
I don't know. They took her to jail though.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Oh my God. Okay, so we got an update for the shooting.
His name is Colt. That's C-O-L-T.
I started right.
As the sheriff mentioned earlier, custody. His name is Colt. That's C-O-L-T Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the school. G-R-A-Y. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult. And,
they ain't playing.
We're coordinating these charges, and obviously this investigation with District Attorney Brad Smith, who's the District Attorney for the Piedmont Judicial Circuit here. As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody.
I started running. He started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times. And then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk. My teacher had got in front of me like he was guarding. Like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking, like and everything. And then when he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with discs and bookshelves and all that. And then I had got up. I had saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad. And then when I had moved myself to the other side of the room because the bookshelf I was hiding behind, it was right in front of the door. So I had moved to the other side, to like this side.
Yeah. Anyways, to say this has been a sad thing for people. I know. I think it was reported that 4 people had died and 30 people were injured.
Yeah.
Somebody got airlifted off of the school premises because of it. You know, like you said earlier, this isn't a inner city school. This isn't a, like, oh, this is a bad area, like where it's like where I went to school at. Like, oh, we're used to kids bringing guns to school, but it's not an area like that. So for this to happen, it's tragic nonetheless, but to end the show, definitely praying over the families, the kids that's been traumatized, the ones who've lost children, or I think I read earlier that one of the coaches was trying to protect kids and he actually got shot in the face. So that was like one of the first people that they saw entering the school. Yeah, just praying for those people, praying for those students and those family members and those teachers, because this is never an easy thing. If Kamala wants to talk about making some changes, this is definitely something that needs to change. For the fact that this is a trend, in America only, where school shootings are happening like these type of rates. The school year just started. This should never happen. So, yeah, definitely, Sarge, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
it's coming. I
um,
mean, they
yeah.
got to get the details of what happened. You know, are the guns he has, are they legal? Are they illegal? How did he obtain them? How did he have access to them? There's a lot of questions as to that. My questions being, you know, into as many psychiatric jobs that I've had. My question is, how many people miss the signs? How many people walk past this kid every day
Well, I can
and
tell you
said
now.
he's off?
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, like, I can't necessarily speak for other counties, but just in Georgia, like, Georgia has a very bad habit of just pushing kids like, oh, they're problematic. The teachers don't want to deal with them. We're just going to push them to the next grade level so we don't have to keep dealing with them. Georgia's
Yeah, but
very notorious.
we're talking about a rural school.
I'm
That
saying, like,
people saw this kid. People saw this kid. They saw it coming, and somebody didn't do
okay.
nothing about it.
So
Because
let me tell you,
you get people like Tim Walz get on TV and say, "Everybody mind your own damn business," and that's what people did because it's
okay,
easier to mind your own damn business.
okay, but here's the thing. So I'll give you an example. I went to school with this dude. His mom was on drugs, like an addict. He was literally working Monday through Friday, like doing an overnight job, then coming home, getting like 2-3 hours of sleep, taking his little sister to school, and then coming to school himself. That was his everyday life. He was literally sleeping in the class. The teachers are like, oh, he's sleeping, he's a problem child, blah, 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 blah. No, if you took the time to talk to him, you would know that he's literally trying to survive and take care of him and his sister. Like, that's what he's doing right now. Teachers, I don't want to just put it on Georgia, but not a lot of the times the problem is that these teachers are overstimulated, underpaid, and understaffed. Like, just like when we're in college, you're supposed to only have so many students to a teacher ratio. Like, I know when I was in high school, the teachers were overcapacitated in class. We got like 40 students to one teacher in a classroom. That's way too many kids for a teacher to deal with. And you're thinking this is like between 4 and 6 classes out of a day that you're dealing with this.
Yeah, but you have to understand that teachers are not trained to detect shooters.
I mean, yes, they're not trained to detect shooters. No, that's not their job. But my thing is that what it is your job you're supposed to be that person that the kids can come to outside of the house, and you're supposed to nurture and like instruct these kids. You're teaching them things. So that means if you're instructing and you're nurturing them, then at a certain point, you're going to be making a rapport with them that you can understand something's not right with this kid. Something's not right. Something's wrong. Like, a good teacher is going to do that. Even in my whole thing is,
well, I blame the intimate.
You say you blame what?
I'm on Sarge's team. I'm on Sarge's team on this because people miss the signs, and it's always a mental health issue. And right, what happened to the guidance counselors in school? Where are they at? You're exactly right, Sarge. And every single time you have school shooters, it's always after the fact, everybody's like, yeah, he was a little off. Oh yeah, he was angry. Oh yeah, he was this, he was that. Well, where was everybody at? Especially the people that intimately knew the shooter. Where were they at? You can't take aggressive behavior for granted anymore. You can't take mental health issues for granted anymore because people don't tick right anymore. All it takes is for the wind to blow in the wrong direction and somebody shoots up a school. So you have to be aware. If you have people around you and their behaviors drastically change, you have to intervene. You can't just say, well, it's somebody else's problem. You're not going to be thinking that after something bad happens, then you're going to go, damn, I should have done something. And that's what happens every time. School shootings, every time there's a school shooting, this happens. People do the same thing over and over and over again. guidance counselors. I got you on that one, Sarge. Where's the guidance counselors? Because there are no good guidance counselors anymore.
I mean,
None.
yeah. I mean, shoot.
It's herding
Even if
sheep.
you didn't have a guidance
Schools-
counselor, we had a guidance counselor when I was in high school, but she wasn't worth shit. And I mean, but a lot of the times our teachers, we were close with our teachers. So even if I didn't like, even if we had a guidance counselor, but she wasn't worth a damn. She just sat in that damn office doing God knows what all day, every day. But like our teachers were very involved with us for the most part. Like my econ teacher, Dr. Kaiser, I love her. She was one of the best teachers I've ever had.
It's not the teachers' problem.
Yes,
it's not the teacher's problem.
But it is the teacher's problem at the same time, because everybody that has interacted with that child that was in that school system has failed. It's not just the guidance counselor. Everybody in there who's interacted with this child has failed. Because my thing is, like,
but if they're overstaffed, if they're understaffed and have too many kids, the teachers are going to get overwhelmed and they're never going to see it. They're not going to have enough. There's not going to be enough for them to see. Right, Sarge. Our guidance counselor walked the halls.
Well, y'all
all over the place.
Where that shit meant something.
She let me bring a styrofoam head that I put a wig on and have it in class because she said it was therapeutic. No other guidance counselor would ever allow that to happen, but Sandy Bandy did. Her name was Sandy Bandy.
I cannot.
Her husband was a judge.
Oh my God. Well,
yeah.
I
mean, she let you do whatever. But she was actually she gave a shit though. Like she cared about people. Like if she saw you not looking right, she'd be like, "Come here, let's talk."
I mean, I get it. I mean, the school system sucks. Sandy Bandy. At the end of the day, that's what it is. The school system suck. But it's just sad. But we pray for those families and those kids and teachers, for everybody that was involved, because they should never have to go through that. But what do you say? Know where your kids are at?
Well, yep. Know where your kids are at. Pay attention to their behaviors. You can't just throw them in their room and let them play Roblox all the time and work on their Riz. Like you got to pay attention to them, interact with them. Just this ignoring your kids that parents are doing now it's not working, because this is what happens. You miss signs, and there's signs. They could be hurting. They could be going through a breakup. They'd be going through all kinds of stuff, but you're missing the signs because you're not paying attention. Pay attention to your kids. Know what they're thinking. Care that they have thoughts. That's a big one. Care that they have thoughts. And we'll join you guys on Sunday. And go Bucks. And get on my TikTok and watch my TikToks. They're funny. All right. And I'm out. Peace. In the Middle East.
This makes me